After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
"12 races down, 12 races in the books, just one round of the Coliseum remains. The high, dirty banks of Bristol Motor Speedway are the final stage for Cody Higbee's attempt at a BRP iRacing Series championship. Can Maxime Plant and AJ Alberta find ways to spoil the 97C's title run against all odds? Or does Cody cruise into the sunset feeling good in lucky race number 13? Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. Joe Donahue joins me on the mic this evening. Trey Shuttlesworth is on our social media coverage. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the BRP iRacing Series. So I know you have many options to watch your sim racing action. We thank you for choosing PitStop TV and tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter with us this evening. Joe, this is it. This is the final showdown for the Big Block mods, and more importantly for Maxime Plant and AJ Alberta to maybe, just maybe, have a chance at upsetting the sure championship lockdown for Cody Higbee.
Well, Cody Higbee's been on a tear with this series. He's been doing very well this season, but you can't take anything away from Maxime Plant. You can't take anything away from AJ Alberta. There's a lot of really great talent in this field, and we're set to have a really awesome race tonight. This track should be shaping up to be nice for these guys, should provide a lot of excitement for everybody, and maybe we'll get a chance to get somebody new in victory lane. Maybe we get a chance to have a run for the championship.
It's going to take a lot for anybody to spoil the party up top of the point standings. Let's take a look at those standings coming into this evening, Joe. This is it. This is the final opportunity to make up 30 points, and with AJ Alberta and Maxime Plant switching after last week, it's looking ever tougher for the 22 to spoil his teammate, but man, Maxime Plant is just within range to possibly do something. It's going to take a lot, though. He's got 5 wins on the season, sure, but 30 points when the maximum, I think, in a feature is about 25. It means you have to maximize the heats, and you've really got to hope that Cody comes in at naught for all sessions this evening.
Yeah, and that's a tall order. I mean, Cody Higbee's been really strong all season long. Maxime Plant, don't want to take anything away from Maxime. 3 wins in the last 5 events. That's a record to be unmatched in this group. But at the same time, you're right, 30 points is a long way to go, and Cody Higby's done a lot of work over the course of the season to be consistent to get that far up, and it will be a challenge for Maxime to get anywhere near that title.
It will be more than a challenge. You look further down the standings, you see guys like Ryan Beagle, Thomas Richards still relatively close to the lead, but obviously out of contention at this point. They're still sorting things out amongst themselves. Thomas Richard with that third win on the season last week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But I noticed something in making this graphic earlier, Joe. 6th through 10th, well, 6th on back is all way over 100 points back. In fact, it's 60 points from Thomas Richard to Michael Hackett alone. And you've got some guys that are on big slides like Kevin Habert in 9th.
Yeah, I think once you get further down into that group, you get some of those guys who've been a little bit less consistent, or maybe some of those guys who've had off weeks. I mean, obviously, you can't prioritize BRP over your standard lifestyle and your actual jobs and whatnot. So some of these guys, they miss a week or two, and that sets them back. But that race is still pretty tight in there. I mean, Travis Miller and Ryan Susi only separated by 5 points. Those guys are all, obviously they want to go as far as they can into the championship, and they've got one last chance to do it. Hopefully they put in their practice, they'll be able to put on a good show. But yeah, I mean, it's a far back slot between Richard and Hackett, but still should be exciting for those guys down at the bottom end of the top 10.
A tall order for sure this evening. We've got the final opportunities for all these drivers to make up a few spots in their points battles. We're currently looking at the practice leader, Jamie Porter, with the fastest lap so far in this session. You know what? Let's go ahead and pull up those practice times thus far this evening. Jamie Porter up top. Actually, this is not displaying our times, unfortunately. Let's try the other way. Let's do it this way. We should have times. Yes, we do. So Jamie Porter atop the scoring pylon. Maxime Plant just a little ways back. Looks like 8/1000ths of a second behind the 45 car there. Then Ryan Susi a little ways further back. Adam Hilton there as well. But I think we see a lot of the same players that we usually see through practice. Plant, Susi up top. Miller looking like he's maybe a little more sporty this evening than weeks past. And then you have to go an extra 10th back to Brian Berger, so the top 5 have things figured out.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely are a significant group up there compared to the gap between Brian Berger and Travis Miller. But it's nice to see Jamie Porter up at the top end of the board. I know Jamie's been consistent before, has a heat win already this season, but you look at last week, I mean, we had 2 first-time heat winners, and it's really awesome to just see some new names up at the front end of the board getting some victories. So hopefully Jamie Porter can put together a nice run, get his second win of the season in a heat race, or maybe we'll get somebody else. Maybe Mike Wenner will get up there. I mean, there's a whole list of people, Adam Hilton even, who could kind of upset guys who haven't really been at the top end as much as, say, Maxime Plant, AJ Albreda, Cody Higby, but it could still be exciting, and hopefully those guys put together a nice show to round up their season on a high note.
Mentioned Cody Higby. Here he is in the number 97C as per usual. That paint scheme is a bit about the same the last few weeks, and it's looking pretty good. I love the metallic blue down the sides. He currently checks in from the 9th position here in practice, 3/10 and a third up on our practice leader, Jamie Porter. But of course, the track is going to change a whole lot. I'm going to use a term that was used a lot for the Bristol Dirt Track in the NASCAR Cup Series. We're going to farm this racetrack. We're going to tear things up a little bit, water it down, and we are going to get some fresh, loose dirt for qualifying. From there, everything will transfer on over. So we get that one opportunity to kind of reset this place and get us some good-looking dirt again. You can see just how slicked off it is throughout the corners, especially on entry. That's where it's going to be the worst, where you just throw that car into the corners. But here before qualifying, we'll, of course, tear this dirt back up. We'll get us some good, tacky dirt again, and we'll have some grip, more importantly, through qualifying in the heat races.
Yeah, we did put some practice in up here at PitStop TV. I had Trey Shuttlesworth, our social media man, Andrew Cardinale was there. We just kind of lapped some time with these big blocks at Bristol on our own, just to kind of get some gist of what we were going to be experiencing and what the drivers were going to be experiencing tonight. It seems like even with the heavier cars and the higher loads in the corners, it seems like the dirt kind of sticks underneath the cars for a while longer than at least I would have expected coming into this event. So these guys should have a solid amount of grip throughout the heat races, and even into maybe the start of the feature tonight, we should see a lot of really good opportunities. And then obviously once the track slicks off, that's when it gets exciting. But I think Bristol slicks off really nicely, at least from what we experienced earlier. This should be a very awesome feature race. They should have a lot of really great opportunities to race each other.
Yeah, I think iRacing did a pretty good job with converting this thing over to dirt. Maybe a few shortcomings here and there, like with the pit lane and such, but when you're taking an already asphalt track, especially one that requires so much effort like Bristol, it's pretty tough to just convert things over to dirt and have it be entirely perfect the first time out. So I think this is a really cool project that we've got that iRacing can work on over the course of time and can perfect over the course of time and be a really good dirt track moving forward. Getting to use it here in the BRP iRacing series. Big Block Modified Tour is really, really cool. I hope it's on the late model schedule for next season. In fact, that was recently just announced, the fact that we are running dirt late models next season. I believe the the Pro Dirt late models, there we go, next season in the BRP iRacing series. And alongside it will be a Asphalt Tour mod schedule. So that's going to be exciting. I'm actually really looking forward to bringing BRP to PitStop TV for 2 nights a week. Beginning here in later April, I think April 21st or so is going to be the first asphalt mod schedule, or first asphalt mod race rather, and I'm looking forward to things there.
Yeah, well, obviously season 1 was run with different cars in the big blocks, running the 360s, I believe, and they ran the big blocks this season. Now they're going to run late models next season. It's nice to get some variety for these guys. Obviously, they're big block drivers. Most of them are at least big block drivers, but you want to try to kind of get your feet wet in a couple other places, and you just want to have fun. You want to come out and have different guys have the opportunity to be good and be strong. There were people who were better in the wing car than the big block maybe, and maybe we'll see some new names up at the top end of the board when they go take the late models out. But also to add that race on asphalt, I think that just gives these guys another great opportunity to shake things up, maybe get some new names at the top of the leaderboard consistently, and just get them on once more a week. I mean, it's really great to have them out. They're competitive and they're fun and they're really nice people, and it's good to be around them and good to see them here on PitStop TV.
Absolutely. Wednesday nights is where you can catch, or when you can catch rather, the BRP Modified Tour coming up later this year. Again, in just a few weeks, actually. In fact, I think it'll be 2 weeks from this Wednesday. It's coming up quick, the next series, or the next season of the BRP iRacing series, so you really can't sleep on these guys for all too long. And of course, well, we have racing throughout the week here at PitStop TV. You've got a lot that you can watch. Tomorrow night, of course, and we'll talk more about this later on. Tomorrow night we'll have Nork with their NASCAR kind of focused iRacing series with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They'll be at Kansas Speedway tomorrow night. Wednesday and Thursday this week we have off. Wednesday for the final time for quite a while, actually. And then Friday, of course, we've got the LTAC Cup Series coming back to us from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That should be a whole lot of fun. This Friday evening, April the 9th, and then Sunday evening we'll have the Cross Series, or we'll have Cross Series League Racing rather at the XSLR with their Rallycross cars for the first time. Those will be racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But enough of that. We have just 20 seconds left or so of practice here for the BRP iRacing Series drivers. Jamie Porter still leading the way, and at this point, this is something we learned in our practice session earlier that you already referenced, Joe. You are not going to go faster at this point in time. Of course, the track is slicked off. Sometimes in some cars, you can go a little bit faster on a slick racetrack because you're able to put the right rear right up on the cushion. That's not going to happen here in these mods at Bristol.
No, the big blocks are pretty heavy cars, and especially once the track slicks off, you can run a cushion, and you have a lot of really great opportunities when you get that cushion worked in and you get a couple lines on the racetrack. But yeah, I mean, once the track slicks off like this in this practice session, they're not going to be able to run any faster. So they're just getting time in practicing with the slicker racetrack. But the track's going to reset. They're going to get some pretty fresh dirt. They're going to go out car by car. They're going to run their laps, try to go to the bottom, get as fast of a qualifying lap as possible, and hopefully start up at the front of their respective heat races.
Cars hitting the racetrack already. Here comes Ryan Susi. It looks like maybe he wasn't quite ready. Maybe didn't take some fuel out of his car. I think that would be the biggest reason to stop and reset. Mike Winter on the racetrack now. We'll see what he can do as he's coming around to start his first flying lap for qualifying. This is going to be a very, very fast qualifying session.
Yeah, these guys go quick. Obviously, the dirt track's not too long. They're going to run to the bottom side. That's where there's grip, and that's obviously the shortest way around. So if they can go fast down on the bottom, that's going to be the quickest way to get up to the top end of the leaderboard. A couple guys going faster and faster right now on their first out laps. Michael Hackett, the most recent to do so. Cody Higbee now on your screen. Going to try to see if he can go to the top of the leaderboard, start up front, and just charge that championship progress on.
Higbee will come around and go from 5th to, well, he stays 5th. So now we drop into 6th. A lot of drivers getting faster. Susie's back on the speedway. Jamie Porter goes up to 2nd position. Brian Berger out there making a couple of laps. His number 60 car in now the 10th position. Everything's moving around very quickly. You can see it on the left side of your screen. Of course, we got that scoring pylon, that ticker for you. As Thomas Richard, last week's winner, makes his way onto the speedway. 10th fastest his first lap.
Richard going to come around 3 and 4, try to see if he can go quicker, obviously. Won last time, going to try to repeat, would be one of the very few people who's actually going to try to repeat. He ran the apron there through 3 and 4. That was interesting. You want to try to run that banking and get a little bit of extra speed off of that, but an interesting approach to get through that corner there on the flatter part down low.
Maxime Plant has not set a time yet, and he's in the pit lane now. I wonder what's going on here for the Frenchie in the number 79, the gentleman. He's been so fast all season long, 5 wins in the season so far, and we'll see if he manages to get himself a qualifying run in. He's the only car that is moving. He's the only car on the racetrack. He's going to go out. He's going to give it a fair shot. The 79 still has a chance to put some of these guys aside.
Maxime Plant going to be the last one to set a lap time here. He comes out of 3 and 4, going to try to see if he can get that timer off on a good note. He goes into the corner a little higher than I might have expected. Oh, he wiggled there, and he's going to slow it down big time. Maxime Plant, not what we're used to seeing him all the way down at the bottom end of the board.
Not at all. So 19 cars have set their qualifying times thus far this evening. While we're waiting, want to give a big shout out to all of our partners here with the BRP iRacing series. Of course, Bickner Racing Products, the namesake of this league, as well as Rival Powder Coatings and Sandblasting, Matt Ritter Designs, Butt Kicker, Feel What You've Been Missing, Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing. And of course, we have our fair share of partners to give a shout out to as well. A big thank you to Tucson Sound Art, Race Pace Setups, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, and Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of PitStop TV. Just seconds left here in qualifying, and it ticks over that quickly. We've got 10 cars. This is something new. We are just going to be running dual heats in this one, Joe. A few fewer cars this evening is changing things up quite a bit. Let's take a look at our Heat 1 lineup. Starting first, it's Michael Hackett in the 484. Well, the 84H, I believe, as we officially score it for Michael Hackett. He starts on pole, the fastest qualifier. That's huge for Michael Hackett. Ryan Susi will start to the outside pole, starting third in Heat 1. Brett Haas in the 55. AJ Albretta will join him on row number 2. AJ Albretta, 30 points out of a championship. It's going to be hard, but this is where he has got to execute. Starting 5th in Heat 1, Joe Matthews in the number 1 on the inside of row number 3 with Brian Berger on the outside of row 3. The inside of row 4, it's the big show, Randy Giroux in the number 24 with Adam Hilton starting in 8th. The final row, this is weird that we're going to 10 cars in Heat 1, Hunter Hallberg and Maxime Plant, who did not set a qualifying time.
Well, we're going to run 2 heats here because since we've only got 19 drivers, Maxime Plant starting at the tail end, that's very exciting and interesting to see. Him and AJ Albretta, the 2 winningest drivers in heat races this season. 7 for Albretta and 6 for Plant, so obviously they both can't win this heat race, but one of them might be able to add to that tally.
I love that you've got that stat line. That is huge for these drivers in this heat to see if AJ can tie it up or if Maxime is going to take that title and be the most winningest. He's going to have the most heat wins. Here we go. In the BRP iRacing series. We've got our first pace lap out of the way. We're coming around to complete pace lap number 2 and turn these guys loose around the last great Coliseum. Usually a racetrack reserved for only NASCAR events, but recently has been turned back over to the dirt guys, and we've got an opportunity to see them in action this evening. This is going to be a whole lot of fun, Joe. I'm looking forward to this. I really, really am. This will be fun. Green flag waiting on the signal from the starter, Michael Hackett, the pole sitter. They're off and away and out of turn 1.
Look at Brett Haas trying to dive way low down in 1 and 2. Interesting to see the top side working as well as it is right now for Ryan Susi up there. Oh, no!
A little bit of contact. They keep going.
They stayed green. Now Joe Matthews around. We got him cars going all over the place on the straightaway.
Still green.
Still holding on.
We're going to keep digging. Ryan Susi on the outside. AJ Albretta down low. Ryan Susi running as high as he can without getting into the loose stuff, getting into those marbles, using that topside momentum, and clearing the 22 down the front stretch.
Ryan Susi, one of those guys who's been very consistent and very good in heat races this season, has 5 to his name, might try to get a 6th right now. He's holding on with the lead over Albreda. He's got Adam Hilton and Brian Berger riding side by side for 3rd place right behind him. Track looks like it's racing pretty good for being so new and fresh in this evening.
Yeah, this is racing really good so far, holding a lot of speed. These guys are going very, very fast. Side by side, Berger gets ahead of Hilton as now Albreda digs right back down to the bottom side of Ryan Susi. The top side not pushed up yet, so running through the middle really is not going to give you that big dividends that you'd like out of the top. But Susi making it work for him now as you're seeing a little bit of dry dirt start to form on the entry to the corner. Maxime Plant, he's up to 5th.
Plant's on the charge to try to get further up into this group and try to get a better starting position in the feature. He wants to win that feature as bad as anyone, and he's just got to pick them off one by one. Every position you gain right here is going to put you a row further up in the starting order. Right now, Ryan Susi has a pretty solid lead. AJ Albreda kind of was giving him some challenge, but then kind of wiggled into turn number 3 the one time through there, so they go single file. He's trying to catch back up just as much as Plant's trying to catch up to these two side by side for 3rd place.
Oh, as Maxime Plant give a shot in the shorts there to Adam Hilton. They keep on racing. Ryan Susi still in control of this one. Joe AJ Albreda all over the rear nerf bar, though. Can the 22 do anything on this final lap? Coming up, white flag at a turn number 4. Can Ryan Susi get heat race 1 victory?
They come through 1. They both go to the low side. Albreda digging low, maybe even off the banking a little bit. They're side by side now. Susi up the top. They come through 3 and 4. I think Susi, he slid up a little bit there, Andrew. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it.
Almost contact, but Susi comes out on top, and he's going to win the first heat race of the evening. Brian Berger in 3rd. And oh my gosh, Michael Hackett sent it in there at the end. But that is the first 8 laps of competition done and dusted here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. It all happens that quickly, Joe Donahue. Getting ready for heat number 2, and we'll turn it on over to Joe with the heat race lineup.
So they're going to bring it up. You're starting on pole. It's Jamie Porter with car number 45, the white with the orange letters. To his outside, going to be the number 18 of Gavin Eisel. Starting off in 3rd place in row number 2, Cody Higbee leading the championship, just trying to get a couple points out of this and try to start well for the future. Ryan Beagle going to be starting on his outside in car number 84. Row number 3 starts on the inside with last time's winner, Thomas Richard, in car number 3 on track. Travis Miller in the number 22 starts on his outside in 6th place. Starting 7th on the inside is Mike Wenner in the black and fluorescent yellow, number 23. His outside going to be a driver who won a heat race last time, Tyler Pachalski. See if he can double up here at Bristol. Throw back to that last row. Starting alone in car number 49 tonight, going to be Dean Meitzler, rounding out the field in the 2nd of 2 heat races. Final heat race of the season. Final chance to show your stuff and get a heat race win.
I tell you what, Joe, Dean Meitzler may be the most remiss of anybody in the Discord earlier on, that these big block mods are done after this evening. Of course, this is the final race of this season. 13 races. What a season we've had, honestly. We've gone to some of America's best dirt tracks, at least the ones that we have on iRacing anyways. And, I mean, you've got Williams Grove in the mix, Fairbury American Legion Speedway, Eldora in there. You've got some amazing dirt tracks throughout the country that we've raced at. I'd still love to get a few more, but for what we've got, we've had a great season. Jamie Porter going to, lead off for our final heat race. That's weird to say. Our final heat race of the season. Gavin Eisel, surprise starter on the front row. I'm happy about that 18 car starting 2nd for heat number 2. Cody Higbee 3rd, Ryan Beagle 4th. We'll see how they do off into turn 1 for the first time at speed. Porter on pole, waiting for the signal from the starter. Green flag is out. We're racing.
Nice jump on the outside there for Gavin Eisel. He might be able to pull ahead by the time they get into the corner. You can see how much slicker the track is already. That first heat race put a lot of work into the track as Gavin Eisel off the top in turn 2. Going to take the lead into turn number 3.
I've noticed it doesn't take a whole lot to just start getting this place slick, but dry slick takes a little while. Gavin Eisel leads the first lap. Jamie Porter 2nd place, 3 wide and behind. Ryan Beagle up top. Cody Higbee digging the bottom side.
Higbee was trying to run with actually Travis Miller's trying to make time up on these two guys started in row number 2. Beagle's running very well on that very edge of what we've already slicked off a little bit. Miller trying to get closer to the front in that number 22 machine. He's trying to see if he can dive a little bit lower on corner exit, kind of diamond the turn and get around Ryan Beagle.
And Joe, we have seen Travis Miller win here at Bristol before. This would not be the first time the 22 goes to victory. He has done it here, but he's got a lot of work to do. Currently 4th in this heat race. Jamie Porter goes purple, the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Travis Miller used to driving on the asphalt here, or winning on the asphalt with PitStop TV, I should say. a winner in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, but now he's coming out with these BRP guys. They got some dirt on the track. He's actually showing some stuff pretty well. Even though they're kind of running single file right now, he's showing some speed, and he's showing the nose to Ryan Beagle as they come out of that turn, but still up front, Gavin Eisel leading Jamie Porter.
Nose to tail for the leaders, the 45 blinking out a little bit, but he comes right back to us out of turn number 4, and Gavin Eisel works the top side, continues to lead here at the Bristol Motor Speedway by just a few inches, it feels like, over Jamie Porter. This is oh so close. 3 laps to go the last time by 2 once they exit turn 4.
Wondering if we're going to see Jamie Porter try to make something out of in the middle of the corner, a little bit of a bobble. They come past 2 laps to go. Gavin Eisel has a little bit more breathing room than he's had so far in this heat race. Jamie Porter not quite ready to give up. Ryan Beagle trying to charge on and lead this group of 4 up there. Maybe see if they can start shaking things up. Thomas Richard, Cody Higbee, and Travis Miller with him as they get contact out of turn number 4.
Eisel starting to check out, watching the battle around what would be a transfer if we had a consi this evening, but we're not forcing that consi. Cody Higbee still working in about the 5th position. Richards moved up after winning last week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. A big move to the inside. Can he get Beagle? More importantly, Jamie Porter, a last-second charge, but not close enough to get Gavin Eisel. Gavin Eisel gets a heat race victory before this season is over.
That was a good run for Jamie Porter to try to get down the inside of Eisel, but obviously Eisel gets his first of the season. Pretty solid stuff to round out your season with a heat win.
And just like that, I always say it, week in, week out, that is how quickly it happens here in the BRP iRacing Series. We are ready to go feature racing. The lineup is going to look as such. Starting on pole, it's going to be none other than Ryan Susi in the number 38 car, Gavin Eisel to his outside. That is huge for the 18 car. Again, I'm excited about Gavin Eisel starting from the outside of row number 1. AJ Albretta will roll off from the inside of row number 2. Jamie Porter on his outside after finishing second in that second heat. And Brian Berger will roll off from the inside of row number 3. Thomas Richard, last week's winner, rolls off from 6th. And starting 7th this evening, Adam Hilton in the 3 car with Cody Higbee, championship leader and championship favorite, on the outside of row number 4. The final couple of drivers here in the top 10, Joe, going to look like this. Maxime Plant, the gentleman inside of the Thriller, Travis Miller.
Nice lineup for row number 5 there. You go back to row number 6, you got Brett Haas in car number 55 on the inside. The yellow 121 of Tyler Pachalski will be starting 12th on the outside of that row. Go back to 13th spot in this 13th race of the season. You got Michael Hackett. His outside is going to be Ryan Beagle. The pair 84 is on row number 7. Go back to 15th starting position. You've got the number 99 Double H Hunter Holberg. And starting on his outside, the 23 of Mike Wenner. Back to the 17th starting position, you've got the big show, Randy Giroux in car number 24, and Dean Meitzler in 49 on his outside. Rounding out your field tonight, all alone on that last row, going to be the number 1. Love that first name, Joe Matthews, rolling off in that black and yellow car.
1 is the loneliest number, starting on the loneliest row this evening in the 19th position. Before we go feature racing, of course, a big thank you, a big shout out to all of our series partners here at the BRP iRacing Series: Bicknell Racing Products, Rival Powder Coatings and Sandblasting, Matt DeRitter Designs, Butt Kicker, Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing, and of course our own partners here at PitStop TV, Tucson Sound Art, Race Pace Setups, Permanent Makeup and Cryo Man, and Whiplash Media. Joe, we're ready to do battle for 50 laps at the last great Coliseum. I have no clue how this is going to go, but I am oh so excited. The pace truck is going to leave this field all alone here out of turn number 4, and we are about to turn them all loose. A whole lot of horsepower is going to dive off to turn number 1. Susi on the top side, Albretta down low, side by side for the race lead. The 22 with the advantage down low. Now Susi gets the whole shot out of the corner.
He ran the top and got the momentum off. The top side is how Ryan Susi seems like he wants to try to hold on to the lead. Gavin Eisel right behind him. Albretta trying to dig the low line. Jamie Porter holding on behind those guys. Right now, Albretta kind of the only guy down there in the slick stuff out of the middle of the turns. Oh, a little bit of contact further back. Adam Hilton. Oh, cars all over the place out of turn number 4.
A big crash here on lap number 2, coming around to lap number 3 for a lot of drivers involved in this one. And we'll, of course, take a look back at things that we can't find out about our first big incident, our first caution flag of the evening at the Bristol Motor Speedway. this is what happens. I saw it all starting back here with Adam Hilton, and he was 3 wide into the corner, just gets into Pachalski, and then Beagle, of course, nowhere to go once Hilton checks up, and it's a chain reaction from there.
Yeah, that's definitely the definition of a chain reaction. I mean, Hilton, just a little bit of contact with Pachalski, no big deal, but obviously, you know, Beagle's coming on from behind him, and it gets tight once cars start slowing down, and again, they're at the start of the race more, so they're more grouped up, and obviously everybody kind of feeds in from there. On board with Brett Haas, you get a pretty interesting view of just how quickly this unfolds in front of him and how hard it is to get out of the way of this whole ordeal.
There's the checkup, and Haas, of course, has nowhere to go but into Ryan Beagle, and they all pile in. Hunter Holberg and Haas, I believe for the second week in a row, up and over here in the BRP iRacing Series, this time at Bristol instead of Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Brett Haas has had some pretty good performances. He's gotten second a few times here in the series, but, you know, everybody has their ups and downs. Unfortunately, Brett Haas kind of starting this race off on a low point, starting this feature off on a low point, but hey, there's still, what, 40, 48, 47 laps in this event. I mean, there's plenty of time to turn that 55 car around and get it up front again.
Still a lot of time to go, a lot of laps left uncovered, and Ryan Susi is going to lead us to the next few. He is, of course, still the race leader after leading those first couple of laps before we got that caution flag. But that was a quick way to halt progress here, and we know these guys can get racy. This racetrack can definitely hold Big Blocks for some pretty good battles, but it's going to take a lot of patience in these early laps, a lot of give and take.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the track changes so much at the beginning of the runs. I think that's, you know, one of the things you have to wait on a lot is if your car is kind of, set yourself up to be better in the slick stuff, or even when it's tackier, you have to kind of let the track work in and figure out what the best line is going to be. And it changes so dynamically that these first couple laps, you just have to do your best. You have to be patient, you have to be smart, and not make any mistakes that take you out of contention to capitalize on when the track changes to the point you like it.
Arnie holding that caution flag out above the field. We're doubling back up, shootout style, and restart this race, coming to lap number 4 of 50. I like that we got the 1 lap in, but unfortunately we couldn't quite get that second lap completed. I think if we can just spread this field out a little bit here, Joe, elongate the field of 19 drivers, and just get into a groove, I think we can have some really great racing here, and battles that evolve with the track. I think that is what we all want to see here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Dirt, though. The dirt Bristol Motor Speedway. It's pretty crazy. Green flag flies. We're back racing at Bristol.
That was an excellent start for Ryan Susi. Caught Albreda sleeping a little bit. Jamie Porter going to run the top side, try to get up into position number 2. That car, number 45, goes into that spot down the back straightaway. They come into turn 3. Susi goes way up into the tacky stuff. Gets that race lead. Albreda jumps up top as well. They're 1, 2, 3 down the front stretch. No trouble.
Cody Higbee up there as well. I think the top side can be very, very important for all these drivers. The bottom is usable, but it's just tough to use it right. Gavin Eisel trying to do so on the bottom side. He's fallen back to 6th after starting 2nd, and I don't think that 18 is finding the grip he needs.
No, right now he's kind of running down there mostly alone. Travis Miller's digging down there as well. Ooh, hack it in the wall pretty hard right there. He stays straight, and we stay green. There's no big contact. Oh, now Joe Matthews sideways down the backstretch as well.
No caution yet. We're going to stay with this in case it does draw the yellow, and there it is. Caution flag flies at Bristol for the 2nd time.
Yeah, that's a tough break. I mean, Hackett got through that corner without any major incidents, and that was really awesome that we didn't go yellow off that, but obviously these guys kind of checked up, grouped up, and ran out of racing room. Obviously we got a yellow out of it.
Watching from up top of the suites here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, there's all that checkup in 2, and oh my gosh, Mike Wenner. And then he just gives the right hook to Joe Matthews. That was, ooh.
He sent it into turn number 1 very quickly. That number 23 car was on a charge right there, obviously. Ran out of room with Joe Matthews already being on the racetrack in front of him. But if you could hold that amount of speed and not, you know, run into anybody and not lose the car even, that would be a really great way to get that car up to the front. And Mike Wenner kind of proved he's got a little bit of Shazam into that car, but, you know, just ran out of room right there. And tough break for these guys that get... Yeah, you see them just hook, no big deal. I mean, nothing you could do about it, but Matthews and him just kind of ran out of racing room.
Definitely unfortunate to get an incident like that so early on. But, hey, it gives this guy There we go. Ryan Susi, a chance to continue perfecting his restart game as we get ready for another one here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Got a few laps in that time, though. These guys got to feel the track change a little bit as some of the dirt starts to slick off on the bottom side, start to dry out, and that groove is going to continuously go higher and higher. At the racetrack, we were already seeing the top become the line that these guys want. Of course, it's got tackier dirt, a lot more moisture, and that's what they want to go after.
Well, yeah, but another part of that, a really important part of that, is if everybody likes the top side and they all run the top side, they're going to work it in very quickly, and then we're going to start seeing guys have to move to the bottom to see any amount of grip, or, you know, if the track's going to change, that top line will move. And so while that might work for a little while, we might see those guys all treeing up top. It's going to change very quickly, and that line's going to change, and we might start seeing people move around more, and we'll certainly see that top side kind of slick off more if they keep running like that.
While these guys pace under caution here, I want to take a look at our weather conditions this evening. 77 degrees in the air, 71 degrees in the track. Of course, it's dirt. That's kind of a number you don't really pay too much attention to. Very calm winds, very calm day overall here in Bristol, Tennessee. It should keep a nice bit of moisture in. We don't have a whole lot of cloud cover, but it should hold a lot of the moisture in the track. Obviously, the bottom side has been dried out because how many cars have been running on it, but I think where there aren't as many cars running, if there's any part of the racetrack where there aren't as many cars running, it should hold a little bit of moisture for a little bit longer. It's just going to be up to these drivers on what bit of racetrack they use. You can see the bottom side of the straightaway, though, is completely wet. That is looking like the swamp, honestly. It's looking like a bunch of mud down there. Getting ready to come to green flag number 3 for our feature. Ryan Susi still in control up at the top side.
They come back, wait for the green flag, and we're off. The throttle jockeys are on the horses down the front straightaway. Ryan Susi will head really nicely. Jamie Porter, they go single file up to the top side. AJ Albreda with a heck of a run on the bottom side of 1 and 2 that time. Didn't quite capitalize on it, but he brought a lot of speed down there.
You see the entire field trying to get up high. Everybody's just trying to fan out, find the dirt that works for them. Porter to the inside for the feature race lead. It's maybe a tap from Albreda as Porter tries to slide in up top. Cannot quite get ahead of Ryan Susi just yet.
Porter's on a charge, though. This is a really great performance for that 45 car. Has been up at the front end before, but didn't quite capitalize on a good, strong finish in the top 3 yet this season. This would be a great way to turn it out and end it out. But you see right now he's got AJ Albreda, he's got Cody Higbee, obviously trying to get around Ryan Susi. 3 wide right there for the race lead. He's got the top side. Albreda working really well down low.
Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Ryan Susi was very, oh my gosh, he gets thrown around. Very open about the troubles he's had this season. Some of them his own doing, some of them not, and that one is not his own doing at all. I'm going to be honest, that was just some guys not playing very nice at the start of this race, and you see Porter just slid up. And I mean, I get it, these guys are racing for all they can, but 13 races through a season, at some point they've got to stop throwing sliders this early.
Yeah, I mean, Porter kind of slid up the track a little bit there. I wonder if the car was getting out from underneath him a little more than he wanted to. He had a lot of pressure right there with Susi obviously trying to get around him, having to deal with AJ Albreda down low, coming on very quickly down on the very low side of the speedway right now. But obviously Jimmy Porter wants to get around that 38 car. They come down the straight, into the corner, and obviously Susi goes way too high, gets into the wall, lets these guys come around him. We got a 3-wide passenger lead. That was really cool. They go into the corner, and then, Porter just kind of starts sliding up the track and obviously runs out of room. Susi up onto the fence, upside down, gets hit by Brian Berger, gets hit again by Brett Haas. And finally, that car comes to a stop. But that was a wild ride for the 38 machine.
That's just really unfortunate to see somebody who so fast through the preliminary racing this evening get just tossed aside like that. 38 Ryan Susi, he's had great speed so many times this season and just hasn't had a chance to put the pedal to the metal, there we go, and actually be able to use that speed. Lap 10 of 50, Jamie Porter, the race leader, now out of all of that, and AJ Albreda will slot into second. That's going to be interesting for how these guys restart. It looks like Porter's going to want that top side, as you might expect, and that would put AJ Albreda, of course, on the inside. That'll change things up. That'll give Thomas Richard and the rest of row number 2 with Cody Higbee an opportunity to capitalize and have something to say about it.
Yeah, I was wondering myself, what would I do if I was Jamie Porter trying to keep AJ Albreda back? Obviously, Porter seems to like the top side right now. That's working for him in that 45 car, but AJ Albreda is so fast down low. Do you take the opportunity to go low, block that line from him? Obviously, Porter's not going to do that, but that might have been a strategy move he could have pulled. Obviously didn't, so we're just going to have to see how well it goes for him trying to dig his own line and let AJ Albreda have the preferred line that he's been liking on these restarts way down on the inside.
When we restart, we will take lap number 11 of 50 in the final showing of the BRP iRacing Series Big Block Modified Tour. This is it for these drivers to have something to say about adding their names to a growing list of race winners. As Jamie Porter, the whole shot off that restart, that's a big jump for him, and he is out to a quite comfortable race lead through the first couple of corners.
Yeah, Porter knew he had to get on the money quickly if he wanted to keep Albreda and Cody Higbee behind him. Those guys obviously have won races up in the top end of the championship. Maxime Plant's in there too. Those guys are all very well known in this series for being that strong contenders, so they're going to have to, he's going to have to push him to get in front of them and stay in front of them off the restart. He obviously did so, but they're coming right back on him.
Easily one of the fastest tracks on the schedule for sure for these big block modified guys. Jamie Porter, his lead is thinning as AJ Albreda works the bottom side. I think that bottom is really, really rewarding, but you've got to do it just right, and AJ is right now.
Yeah, you can see it slicked off down on the inside, but there's still a little group of tackier dirt down way to the bottom side. I mean, almost onto the apron of the racetrack, and that's where AJ Albreda sends that car. You see him go down there right now as the yellow flag's going to come back out, but you saw he goes underneath the slick stuff, and that's what's letting him get through the corner so quick.
Yeah, he's dropping down onto that flat and using the apron to kind of de-wedge the car. At least he would be if it was a NASCAR stock car anyways. The 3T is going to be the source of this latest incident, and it looks like it should be the next time around turns 3 and 4. Watching Thomas Richard now, and he was racing with Travis Miller and Cody Higbee. This is just barely out of frame. And what is going to happen here? Oh, another chain reaction, just running really, really fast to the top side, and nothing he could do.
No, he kind of got a little bit of a hook from how close those guys were all together. Travis Miller right behind him, and then obviously slid down to the bottom side. Got really lucky he didn't pile drive the attenuator at the end of that pit lane there, but still got a pretty sizable chunk of it, and probably going to put a little bit of damage on that car. That's a tough break. I mean, Richard was running really strong. One of those guys, I mean, won last time. One of those guys who's been pretty strong in the series overall, and trying to end on a good note, but that's not what you want to see if you want to get there.
It really has been a pretty solid season in terms of speed once again for Thomas Richard, but he's not been able to capitalize as many times as he of course would hope. He had a great season though in those sprint cars last time out towards the fall of 2020. But the winter and spring of 2021 not been quite as kind to him. He's much like Ryan Susi in that category of guys who just have not had a good start to 2021, at least in the BRP iRacing series. But hoping that turns around heading into the late models next season. The field paces around. It looks like we will go green the next time around here, Joe. I got to ask, we've got 14 laps completed now, a few caution flags to boot. We've still got 35 laps of racing. Who do you think gets this one?
Well, right now, I think what AJ Albreda is doing, going way to the bottom side, is significantly helping him. I would expect to see Albreda into the race lead time. As the track wears out, though, I'm wondering. Maxime Plant's one of those guys who's really good at the end of races. So is Cody Higbee. But I guess I'll hold on with Albreda, because Albreda is that guy who just goes all the way to the bottom. He's doing what he's got to do to get to the front right now, and I think he probably is going to have a good chance of holding on to the race, too.
But of course, we're aware of the fact that this racetrack is going to change the whole lot through this race, right? So how long until that bottom side gives out? How long until that advantage is no longer advantageous? I really got to wonder for AJ Albreda, how long can he keep that up on the bottom side? Only time will tell, and we'll be here to see exactly what changes for the number 22 and the rest of this BRP iRacing Series field. Getting ready to go back at it. Going to complete lap 14 and turn things over to lap 15 here on this restart. Green flag flies. They're right back on the loud pedals. Jamie Porter again with a big jump.
Porter knows he's got to get off of that start fast if he wants to hold them back. He can now kind of get that car up to speed and try to figure how he's going to stay in front of this charging herd of Big Block Modified to go through 3 and down towards turn number 4. Albreda runs up top with Jamie Porter as he leads the lap again, but Albreda going to dive way low in 1 and 2, see if he gets a slide job in here.
Slide job, and really cuts off the 45 at a crossover. Down the back stretch, here comes Higbee. He's right on the back end of his teammate. Slide job again, this time from Porter at a crossover once more.
AJ Albreda got that car turned down. He's going to dive way low through one, and he slides all the way up to the racetrack. There's a lot of speed right there. Over and under. Jamie Porter comes back down the inside again. Cody Higbee going to try to capitalize as well. He sends the car way to the bottom side, as well as Porter slides up in front of Albreda, and Higbee makes a 3 wide.
3 wide across the line. AJ Albreda right back down to the bottom side, right back at home, it seems like, that 22, right back in front of the 45, as well as Porter crosses him back up the over-under down the backstretch.
I was just about to say Joe Matthews was coming on very strong right there, but he kind of caught the wall out of turn number 2. They come out of turn number 4 again. Now, number 45 leads the way. Albreda, Higbee now trying to slide 2 as Albreda goes way low. Higbee in the middle, and that's Maxime Plant up to the top side.
How about the gentleman right back into a race win battle like we're so used to seeing him, up into the top 3 on a podium position. We've got all 3 of our points leaders in the top 5, and our championship leader, I think at this point, our champion, is sitting 4th, right behind all of these guys. The cream certainly rising to the top. How about Tyler Pacholski in the top 5? Maxime Plant down to the basement trying to make things work.
They almost go 3 wide out of turn number 4 there. Albreda's going to go way to the bottom side again. Plant up, and a little bit of contact there with Cody Higbee. That's going to let Pacholski capitalize. Track's starting to shape up really nicely, and we saw this in our little practice we did earlier, that once it slicks off, it's a good racetrack. This is going to be really exciting. Right now, they're showing their stuff. Jamie Porter still leading the way. AJ Albreda going to try to dive again, see if he can get around that 45 one more time.
What do you mean it's going to be really exciting? This already is. There's a slide job there for 4th. Maxime Plant up in front of Tyler Pacholski to correct Plant slide. Still racing up front. Albreda all over Jamie Porter. What can he do possibly into turn 1? We've seen a plethora of sliders so far. No, he's going to stay in behind, rim rodding, running the lip up top. And, man, this is just amazing stuff so far. It's calmed down a little bit. Here we go. Slide jump again. Attic to the basement. Maybe back to the attic. No, not quite. Couldn't quite move up. He had him cleared, but couldn't move up in front of Porter. He'll try it again.
AJ Albreda found a ton of grip in 3 and 4 that time. Oh, he backed that one up pretty bad. They're going to be wrecking here. Jamie Porter, Cody Higbee, Maxime Plant, all over the place. Ryan Susie gets a little love of that. So does Thomas Richard. We got one sideways yellow flags going to come out about halfway into this race. That's a tough race for all these guys up front.
We love the excitement. We really do, but man, you don't take it one time when you have him cleared, and you take it the other when you don't. AJ Albreda here with a lot of contact to Jamie Porter. We'll watch this back, of course. This was great racing, and I guess it had to come to an end at some point, but this is a painful one.
Yeah, they were racing really good. That was exciting and fun and cool. A great way to end out the season with that awesome action we were seeing. But obviously, you know, they get into it a little bit. So Albreda dives way to the bottom. He finds some grip down there, and I wondered if Albreda was going to capitalize on that grip he found in more laps. But obviously, you know, you got Jamie Porter up top. Albreda goes to the low side, slides way too quickly up the racetrack. Was nowhere near clear. Obviously, Porter got caught up. Big climbs in there, and then just more of a pile in from behind.
That's a painful one, again, for Jamie Porter. That's really tough to see for a guy who was having such a great run and was leading a ton of laps here. You know what? Let's pull up this graphic, actually. This shows the 12 laps he's led so far this evening. He was really putting a great race together and unfortunately just gets smacked in the face, literally with a car.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy. I wouldn't even call it a metaphor because more or less that's what happened. I mean, you come through that turn, you've got Albreda trying to slide you and just slides up right in front. Big contact to the front end, and you know what are you going to do? You can't really do anything about that, and that's really tough for Jamie. Obviously, trying to get a really great, strong finish out of the end of this season. Caught up in that one. I mean, you know, we got half a race left, so it's not impossible to get back up to the front, but there's a lot of strong people in this field, so it's going to be a challenge.
A few more cars in the pit lane there. You see a couple of them as we wait to... Oh, hey, look at this. AJ Albreda has been thrown to the back end of the field, and maybe it looks like... I mean, he is certainly not leading after that, and I dare say that is a correction from race control to trying to put things right, maybe. And Cody Higbee's put back up to the front of the field. Interestingly, I'm interested by that one. I think that's just iRacing being a little bit interesting. But he is going to be our race leader, it looks like, as we come around. Once we restart, we'll be at halfway. Brett Haas is making up second place with Tyler Pacholski third. This has really changed things up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of new names up at the front end here. Obviously, I mean, we took 4 or 5 out that were up at the very front end when that caution hit. But, you know, Brett Haas has some good finishes this season. Tyler Pacholski trying to end it off on a good note. Gavin Eisel up there too. Joe Matthews, Michael Hackett. I mean, we got a really good group of new names up at the front end that we could start talking about and hopefully see some good racing out of on the second half of this race.
This is really going to change things. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. Yeah, I'm really surprised by the way this is going to work out. Cody Higbee is not going to stay our race leader, so he's being taken back as well, I think, because he was involved in the caution so heavily. He is being sent to the back of the field, so race control trying to work things out here at the front, and it looks like Brett Haas now is going to be our race leader. How about that? Tyler Pachalski will restart second. Joe Matthews on the inside, row number 2. Gavin Eisel up here. Ryan Susi makes up the top 5. We're not going green this time, but this is wild.
Yeah, I think they let this caution run out a little bit so they could sort things out properly. And obviously, I mean, Higbee was part of that incident. And if you're going to send the guys involved in the accident to the tail end, you got to send the 97 back there too. But that's going to make it really interesting indeed. I mean, Tyler Pachalski, Brett Haas, 2 names who have been pretty solid in this race so far, but haven't been up at the front end quite like this. Going to be able to lead us back. Joe Matthews is going to be in there. Gavin Eisel. I mean, this is going to be a really exciting and interesting way to get this race back to green. I'm excited to see what these guys are going to do.
This is going to change things up, that is for sure. Getting ready to go back green flag racing. We'll come around to the halfway lap, lap 25 of 50, and Brett Haas, contact off the start, throws that car into Pachalski, but we will stay green into 1.
Pachalski works the bottom. Joe Matthews worked the middle there. Brett Haas up top. Gavin Eisel, big checkup right there around the 121 car. Gavin Eisel trying to do right there. Hackett slid a little early. Big crash in the turn.
Oh my gosh, guys. We're not checking up. Man, that was a big one.
That was a lot of cars flipping through turn number 3 right there. Just kind of caught the end of it in that first camera shot. We'll get a replay back and get to show you guys what unfolded going into turn number 3 this time. But yeah, I mean, you're coming off the restart, and we know everybody's bunched up, and it's going to be exciting. And there are guys at the tail end of the field that are fast. That kind of happened very quickly, and a lot of people probably should have tried to blow their cars down.
I don't know where this starts, but I think it's going to start around the 23 of winter. No, it's going to start with Hackett, Miller, Beagle. Oh my gosh. That is incredible.
You got 3 pirouetting cars down the banking right there. I mean, they all just kind of piled in together and got caught up. That's a bad place to start checking up and grouping up, is into the entrance of a turn, because everybody's kind of starting to throw their cars in and slide. But obviously they all, once you get checked up and contact is made, you're going around and going over. And unfortunately, that's what unfolded for these guys. Travis Miller was holding on pretty strong up there. And yeah, so there was a little bit of contact that probably led into that one.
Yeah, Susi shoved, now I completely space on who that was.
Hackett.
Hackett, yeah. Susi shoved the 84 up the racetrack, and I mean, there's nowhere for those guys to go. You shove a car at the racetrack like that, and nobody's going to be able to save things. So, hey, that's racing sometimes, getting set for a corner 3 wide, especially in dirt cars here at Bristol. The room runs out really, really quickly.
Yeah, that's very true, and obviously they're all running up at the top side, which has been worked in a lot over the course of this feature race with everybody out on track, and we've already got 25 laps in on it, so it's getting very thin up top, and there's not a lot of room to kind of search and work around each other, so they're all trying to aim for a very small target, and obviously you get one car sliding a little bit the wrong way. The driver doesn't like the way he's entering the turn, gets checked up, gets around, and they just pile in from there. You're going so fast, but yeah, it's a tough way to bring it back to green right there. We were excited to see guys up at the front end try to make some work out of being up front. Brett Haas, Tyler Pachalski, but now, we'll get another shot at it.
Well, hey, if you're just joining us here on PitStop TV for the first time, possibly at all, or maybe just for the first time in this BRP iRacing Series Big Block Modified Tour season, thank you for doing so. A big shout out to our partners on the left side of your screen there with the series, though. Thickner Racing Products, of course, the namesake of the BRP iRacing Series, Rival Powder Coating Sandblasting, Matt Ritter Designs, Butt Kicker, Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing, as well as our partners here at PitStop TV, Tucson Sound Art, Race Pace Setups, Permanent Makeup in Cryo and Maine, and Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of PitStop TV. And let me just say, you can get cameras for all of your iRacing purposes, needs, what have you, from Whiplash Media. It's not just for broadcasting, not just for personal streaming, even for pictures. We can help you out. We can get you sorted out as far as cameras. It's kind of an underrated part of a broadcast, but I think it adds a whole lot to have good-looking cameras for these PitStop TV broadcasts week in, week out. Pachalski on the bottom side, Brett Haas up top. We are now to the far side of halfway as soon as we take this green flag, this time by the stripe. We are green once more, halfway down, halfway to go.
Brett Haas, great restart there. Tyler Pachalski going to slide up to the top side. Matthews going to search down low. Actually, Matthews got a really nice run off the bottom side. Going to try to maybe see if he can get up there and challenge with Brett Haas. Michael Hackett running at the bottom as well. And here comes Albreda down to the way bottom side.
With some contact for the back. I think they keep it straight as Albreda. A big hit from Tyler Pachalski, who thankfully gets things sorted out, but is falling like a rock.
Yeah, right now Pachalski seems to just be losing 4 spots in the corner. That's really tough to see. Hunter Holberg is in that picture there. That was lap car getting out of the way right there. Joe Matthews, Michael Hackett, they're now up there with Brett Haas, trying to see if they can rip the lip a little bit better than him and get around him, as AJ Albreda is still just on the bottom like a freaking rocket.
That is amazing stuff from AJ Albreda. I don't know how he's sticking it down there like that, but a fight for the lead. Haas slows up at the top side, just completely missed the line, and Joe Matthews takes over at Bristol, but Albreda's coming.
You got a 1 at the top, but right now AJ Albreda runs the bottom better than everybody else. He goes side by side with Matthews down the straightaway into the corner again. Matthews trying to search for a little bit of grip. AJ Albreda knows right where to go. Put that 22 car way out front of the race lead once again.
That left front makes a lot of grip, so putting it down there on that apron really helps. Caution flag does come out, and it looks like it may involve Ryan Susie possibly. If not Susie, then I'm not really sure, but it looks like he may have also disconnected. So, yeah, this is going to involve the 38 car, Ryan Susie, once more.
Tough break for Ryan Susie. I mean, Ryan had a pretty strong run at it at the beginning. We'll catch this replay back. He got the big show right behind him. They're ripping up top. They come out of the corner again, 24 behind. They got around where Wenner was, no big deal. It's actually got a lot of space right now, so this is going to be interesting to see. Just kind of got up into the wall off his own right there. Not a big deal. They come out of the turn again. Still got Giroux in behind him. They come through the set of turns. I mean, he's running really well up on the top side right now. Nothing.
I wonder if something happens ahead of him that we're waiting on.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
wow. Oh, geez. Adam Hilton was very sideways.
That is big here for the 3 car of Adam Hilton. Let's take a look back and find the source of this incident. He was racing with Maxime Plant, Cody Higbee on the back side of this lead group. Pachalski there, Porter, Richard as well, and Adam Hilton. What happens to this 3 car in turns 1 and 2?
Well, he's running with Higbee. He's running up top. Adam Hilton's pretty consistent up there, so I'm expecting some sort of contact between cars right now. Entry's a little interesting. Oh, you know what he did? You know what he did was he entered a little too low. He entered basically on the slickest part of that entry, and it was so slick, I think, that it just caught him off guard. He slid up to the top side into the wall, and obviously from there, I mean, we know what happened from there.
So that will do it for Adam Hilton and Ryan Susie, unfortunately, but it sets up for another epic restart. 20 laps thereabouts will remain on the docket for these drivers. In fact, it'll be 21 once we restart here, Joe. Joe Matthews leading the way, AJ Albreda second place. Looks like Brett Haas third, Michael Hackett in the 4th position. Everything has changed up front since the start of this race, and it's going to continue to change. We're still only 3/5 of the way into this race. We've still got 40% of this feature race to go.
Yeah, we've got a lot of really awesome, exciting racing out of it so far, and the track's shaping up really nicely. Like I said, I think this track, once it slicks off a bit, it gets really good for the drivers, and they can kind of search around and work around each other. It gets exciting. It's been exciting, and, I mean, we got 20 more laps to go, and we got plenty of excitement yet to come. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that we get to still chill right here and enjoy the rest of this showdown, and hopefully those guys up at the front end that maybe haven't had as much performance in these last 2 races of the season, like Joe Matthews, Michael Hackett, guys who haven't been in the top 3 as much, will get to capitalize on where they're at right now. But 20 laps is a long time to stay up there.
Lap 29 of 50 will come to a close with this green flag at a turn number 4. And again, Matthews the race leader, but AJ Albretta, he's quickly going to have something to say about it off of this restart, and we'll see exactly what he has to say as Matthews gets the whole shot, but very quickly that 22 is going to rip the bottom side.
I wonder if Albretta even knows to just let the guy who's starting on his outside go like that, because right now, I mean, look, AJ Albretta right side by side again. He'll slide all the way to the bottom. Matthews kind of tried to protect. Oh, Hackett was in the wall hard right there. He's upside down in the middle of the corner. Caution's going to come right back out, and we got a couple cars upside down. Hackett's still wrecking in the midst of turn 4 right there.
There's a lot of tension in the suspension of these race cars and in the shocks that bounce these cars around once they get going like that. So no surprise that he kind of kept bouncing. But Michael Hackett with some big problems on this latest incident. We'll watch back and see what happens. There's the restart again with Matthews getting the short victory, but immediately you see AJ Albretta, he's just got something figured out, keeping that left front down there. He just has so much more grip than everybody else. And Hackett, Brett Haas shoves in the door.
Yeah, Brett Haas kind of slid up to where Hackett was. I mean, Michael Hackett really couldn't do anything about that. He just kind of got a wayside bump and up into the wall and up and over he went. Tough break for Hackett. He was up at the front end, doing pretty strong performance work up there and just doing really well to see out the championship like this. But, that's not how you want to end it off. And unfortunately, collected a couple other guys in it as well.
Going to watch on from the perspective of Hunter Hullberg, who came in kind of late and saw all of this develop in front of him. He's racing back here with Randy Giroux in the 24 car, and it all happens up top, and then, there's even nowhere to go for Hunter Hullberg, who was the last car in line.
Yeah, Hunter Hullberg, obviously, you saw him get into Meitzler right there. Meitzler got checked up as a result of that whole incident, and that Coors Light car slid just in front of him, nothing he could do. The two cars with beer on the sides, they got into each other there in the midst of the corner. Neither of them getting too much damage and stayed out of the major incident there, but still, there are more towards the back, and they've got a little bit more damage on their cars.
The caution flag back out, and lap 30 then of 50. We're getting pretty used to that. And Joe Matthews is going to lead us back to the green flag momentarily. AJ Albretta, keep saying it, he's got so much grip down there, but he's got to lead for a little bit. He's got to pass the start-finish line in the lead for it to count and for it to put him in front of the field for our next restart. So he's got to have a little more time than that to get up to the race lead and beat Joe Matthews. Otherwise, if this keeps going this way and if that bottom side keeps getting further used up, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, Joe Matthews will have something here to hold on to that race lead.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Andrew. Obviously, these yellows aren't really preferred, but what's happening is the track's getting used up nonetheless. And when AJ Albretta searches down low, he uses up the grip down there to get some momentum and make those passes. He's going to use it up, and obviously, once we get further into this race, if we keep having that situation happen, and Albretta can't capitalize on passes as a result, he's just going to use up the grip, and by the end of it, he wouldn't have any grip down there anyway. So then he's going to have to search around the track more, where these other guys have kind of been working it in and getting used to running up top side up where the cushion is.
And it looks like caution lights have extinguished around the Bristol Motor Speedway. Most of the field getting single file. We may be going single file here. I'm waiting to see if the field's going to make up their mind. We got a few rows that are double file. And there we go. Looks like we are going single file for this start. This should help some things kind of disperse and spread out a little bit. I'm excited to see how this one goes. Joe Matthews, race leader. This is going to handicap AJ Albretta just a little bit. We're waiting on the green flag signal from the starter. Ryan Beagle there in third. You see the black and red 84. Green flag back out. Matthews leading, and he has taken to the bottom side a little bit, trying to run that bottom, but it doesn't stick.
No, he kind of slid up into the middle a bit there. Couldn't quite keep the one car pinned down. AJ Albretta, on the other hand, just like we've been saying all night long, absolutely keeps that car to the bottom side. Super glued down there right now. He takes the race lead back over from Joe Matthews on the green flag run. AJ Albretta logs a lap as the race leader once again. Matthews in second, Ryan Beagle in third. Those guys down on the bottom with Richard up top.
Look at Thomas Richard ripping his top side. He's putting that right rear right up on the wall, and it's working for him. He's getting big runs on these guys who are not quite experts in the bottom just yet. I wonder how they will battle. If Richard can get up to Albretta, I wonder how the 3T and 22 might go at it. Maxime Plant back into the top 5. He brings Jamie Porter and Cody Higbee back to this fight. Pachalski in the top 10. Berger and Miller back there as well.
You saw Joe Matthews slide up to the top side. He knew better and saw that Richard was coming on strong. 3 wide in the corner right there. Matthews and Beagle still side by side. Oh, contact right there with Plant and Richard. Richard around into the inside wall. Yellow's going to come out again.
That was a classic case of not quite clear.
That's a great way to sub it up. I don't really know if I can add any more intelligent thought to that. That's just what happened. I mean, they come down and obviously Plant and Richard going at it. You know, we're getting closer to the end of this race. Richard had a pretty strong run right here with Matthews and Beagle. Plant catches up a lot in the midst of that one, but yeah, he tried to, I don't know if he tried to slide up a little bit or if they just ran out of racing room, but you said it best, Andrew. Ran out of racing room.
Yeah, you know, Maxime Plant did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong right there. Maxime Plant was just trying to run the top side, just like Thomas was doing. I'm kind of interested by the fact that Thomas moved in between those guys. I thought he could have just stayed up behind Joe Matthews and worked something out. You can see Maxime Plant has the top side, and Thomas just comes up.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't space, but that happened so quickly. When Richard started coming up, we weren't quite side by side. Maxime Plant wasn't quite there yet, so he started coming up with the intent of being that car up on the top side, but by the time he got there was when Maxime showed up, and then obviously contact into the wall, and then fell down again into the other side. But tough break for Richard. He's going to be sent back to the tail and sent, you know, going to have to try to work his way back up to the front end of the field, but at the same time, you know, we're seeing guys coming back up. AJ Albreda, Jamie Porter's been making moves to get back up there. Maxime Plant, even they're showing you can do that. You can go from the tail to the front. So maybe we're just going to have to see another guy do it.
They've certainly been aided by a couple of really big incidents lately. That portion from about lap 20 to about lap 30, there were a couple of really big hits for some drivers, and really included a lot of drivers, and that has really changed the dynamic of this race. First, you had that big incident in the front, then that big incident with Hackett and Susie making contact in the 3. A lot's happened lately to change this race up, yet it's all coming full circle with some of the same guys moving right back towards the front.
Yeah, it has, and you're absolutely right that the cautions are kind of helping everybody and kind of sorting things back out to the way they were before we started having these more recent yellows. But at the same time, I mean, you can't take anything away from them. They stay out of trouble, and especially when you're at the tail end of the field and there's a caution in front of you, there's somebody gets something squirrely in front of you. If you're able to stay out of the incident, get those positions from everybody who's got to, you know, go to the tail end of the field off that crash and whatnot, it's something worthwhile. And even though, you know, maybe you get a little bit of extra help, you got to still drive your car. You still got to perform if you want to be able to capitalize on those types of things. So you got to give credit to the guys where credit's due, that are, you know, keeping their noses clean to at least get back up to the front.
Caution lights still out here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're working lap 34. Of course, caution laps do not count. That's why we're pacing under yellow, and we're seeing these guys continue to run laps around this racetrack, but we're not seeing that number change on the top left of your screen. That's not a glitch. That is as is designed by race admins. They do not want caution laps to count. It's a very popular thing in dirt racing across the United States of America. It wasn't initially included in the dirt release here on iRacing, but more recently was added into dirt racing. And well, even racing on asphalt, even racing on road, even racing on dirt road, it is, I think, a great addition to the service. It certainly allows drivers and leagues to run races more accurately to real life. So I certainly like that change. I said they were still pacing. It looks like we never came back from the replay. Now we are. That's a rookie mistake on me.
Oh, no biggie there. We got AJ Albreda way up the front side. They're double file behind him, but Albreda still is able to just search to the bottom and get grip where no one else can. Ryan Beagle runs up to second place right now. Joe Matthews falls to third place. He's going to have to deal with Jamie Porter and Maxime Plant putting pressure on him. The gentleman right behind and Jamie Porter down low.
I got to say a big shout out to my Razer keyboard. I have it synced up with iRacing, and if it had not gone green to show the green flag, I would not have known just yet that we had gone green flag racing. So a big shout out to the Razer Chroma keyboard I have on my desk. Joe Matthews working the top side. Jamie Porter still working down low. You see Maxime Plant up top, the 97C, going to stick in behind him as Travis Miller is up there as well. Albreda gets away with the race lead and is just pulling on this field. Caution flag out once more.
Jamie Porter was really coming on strong right there. Pretty impressive stuff. We got 2 cars into the wall, I believe. I didn't see who the second car was, but that was double H. Hunter Holberg that we caught on the tail. So we'll get the replay, pull it back up, and see what happened to the 90 double H to cause this yellow.
going to involve Mike Winter as well. So I dare say that's where it started up ahead. You see the black and neon yellow 23. What happens here? Just drives himself into the fence. It's easy to do when you run on the top. And, Eisel and Meitzler were involved as well.
Yeah, a little bit of love there for Gavin Eisel, and then Meitzler tried to slide through there quickly and get away from the incident. Just couldn't avoid it. Hunter Holberg came in a little bit later, but he was up committed to the top side, and obviously there's a car sideways in front of you. Not much you can really do from there. Tough break for those guys. They were already more towards the tail end of the field. Kind of been caught up in a couple incidents so far tonight, but obviously every incident you add on is just one that you don't want. So tough break for them to, have to come through, deal with some more damage, come into the pits and whatnot. But, brings out a yellow and resets the guys up at the front end of the field.
I just want to add, actually, when that yellow came out, how I mentioned that I saw the green lights go on my keyboard. I also see yellow lights on my keyboard. I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. That is a huge addition. I like if I'm racing, I have the big notification on my screen, of course, with the iRacing sim. But watching like this, if I don't immediately catch the caution lights top left of our ticker, I've got the keyboard to rely on, and I tell you what, that is very, very helpful. If you don't have a keyboard that syncs up with iRacing, I would recommend it.
Yeah, well, anything you can use to help us up here. I mean, you try to work between every source of information you can get these in, but that's such a cool thing to me. Obviously, I run off a laptop here, so I don't get any of the fun stuff that you get. You get to jazz things up a little more than I do. I kind of have to work with what I have with this setup for the moment. But in the future, I'd love to get some stuff like that. Get something up that can give you more information. Double screens are a really great thing too. That's something that a lot of people maybe take for granted, that you can get two monitors up and kind of put two things up on your screen to work with at the same time. But hey, we all like the blinky, flashy lights.
Two monitors, man. We've got 3 monitors going here in PitStop TV HQ, if you will. They've got, of course, the broadcast on one, all of my tools with the production and OBS and everything on the right side, ATVO over there. A big shout out to ATVO as well. Oh my gosh, without ATVO, I don't know where we would be. And of course, I've got you guys on my left monitor, and I've got everything to watch all of that. I tell you what, the more screens, the better when it comes to broadcasting, and that's true not just for iRacing broadcasting, but broadcasting in general. I can tell you what, working with Pit Road TV in the real world, it is extremely helpful, as Jacob Baticki in the chat will also know, that it is really beneficial to have as many monitors as you can. You can just spread things out. You've got a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to monitor, and it's just helpful to have it all spread out in front of you. We are working another caution here. In fact, we can take this away and we can check exactly what caution we are on. Working caution number 10. Here's Joe Donahue, lap 38 of 50. Do caution lights extinguish this time? Yes.
And we're going to go back to double file restarts here, so we're going to get Beagle to the outside of Alberta. Wonder if that 84 machine is going to be able to put up any sort of a fight off the restart. Going to be interesting now that we go back to double file after a couple single file restarts to see how well these guys can keep the noses down and power on. We got a 12-lap race to finish, hopefully.
So AJ Alberta race lead on the bottom side. Jamie Porter in behind him with Beagle on his outside. Just like that, gets this race restarted. We're back green into turn 1.
Jamie Porter got a nice start there. Ryan Beagle didn't really get the greatest restart off that one, but he does hold on to second through 1 and 2 this time. He's got Jamie Porter and Maxime Plant coming on. Maxime Plant made contact with Joe Matthews right there. Matthews kind of dropping off with these guys coming down the inside. Travis Miller going to make his nose known to Joe Matthews as well as come back down the straightaway. AJ Alberta has a pretty solid lead right now.
Working lap 40 and completing lap 40 this next time out of turn number 4. Alberta moves up top, changing his lineup. I wonder if that's just to defend that top side of the race lead out. He's got it. Porter working on Beagle. Suddenly Ryan Beagle's in this mess. I don't know how he got himself up here, but good on him, working into the top 3 and into second position. Porter going to try and go to the high side. Can't get up there, and as soon as Beagle blocks off the top, he goes down low to block off the bottom.
Yeah, Beagle trying to take care of Jamie Porter and protect from the possible run Maxime Plant started to put together. The gentleman up top right now running very strongly compared to these guys down low. Gets side by side with Jamie Porter. In fact, this time he's going to slot into position number 3 through these two as they start working through the middle a little bit more. A little bit of contact there with Cody Higbee and Joe Matthews.
Cody Higbee working things out. That was a little bit of contact. Thankfully, they keep racing. Michael Hackett keeps going at it on the bottom side as well. already over a second from our race leader to second place, and it's growing as these guys continue to do battle. Maxime Plant, though, clears Brian Beagle off the top side. How about Maxime Plant? The gentleman, I don't know how he does it. He's just always there at the ends of these races.
Plant seems to like it when the track gets kind of slicked off and you can run the cushion. As we got a big crash here, yellow flag's going to come back out. Gavin Eisel involved in a fairly significant incident, but I think that once the track slips off and get a cushion, it suits Plant's driving style.
It definitely seems that way. Meanwhile, I don't know where this is going to start, but it's a big one.
Yeah, we'll catch the replay back here. So obviously, we saw who was involved, but we'll catch the replay back. John, oh, that's Tyler Pachalski getting up into the wall on his own in the middle of the corner, and then everybody just kind of collects in behind him. Brett Haas was one of those guys involved. It looked like just kind of a single car incident turned haywire, and a lot of guys piled in.
That's about exactly what happened. Tyler Pachalski running the top side, and unfortunately some big contact with the outside retaining wall. Doesn't have that safer barrier. NASCAR allowed that to be removed for this race and this race only. I don't think that safer barrier technology would have worked any other way. You see the big contact there. Eisel, Haas, Berger involved. I think Giroux got a piece of it. And Eisel and, oh, that was Richard actually that was involved in that, not Berger. Wow, Thomas Richard. That's huge.
Yeah, Thomas Richard's been involved in a few tonight, but obviously coming off a win, you want to carry some momentum, and just not quite working Thomas Richard's way. Getting involved in incidents he's not a part of the cause of by any means, but you just kind of wrong place, wrong time a few times tonight. Unfortunate way to end the season for somebody who's very strong in season 1 and has put up 3 wins this season already, but Bristol doesn't seem to be working his way tonight.
So lap 44, then, of 50, and this racetrack is just completely worn out here, Joe. This is really worn out. We were talking about this racetrack punishing a lot of drivers as I had my mic just muted for some odd reason. Don't really know why. I was having a great conversation here with Joe, and unfortunately the stream just didn't hear it for a moment, but still under pacing here at Bristol, so we can kind of rehash that. It's been a very punishing racetrack, and I mentioned that this is one of the fastest racetracks, if not the fastest racetrack on the schedule for these drivers in the BRP iRacing series. Of course, the high banks here at Bristol holding these guys at speed, and that's what's really, I think, added to a lot of the incidents. You're not slowing way down. I don't know. It's odd because when you slow way down, of course, you have that margin for mistakes, and that's where you get a lot more of those mistakes on entry to the corner. But it seems like at Bristol here, because of the high speeds, because it creates more big moves, it's almost like Daytona Talladega on the pavement side, where it just increases the amount of incidents. I also noticed, was that a little bit of a big bump, a big rut out of the corner like we saw in the actual races here? That was interesting. I've not seen that until just now on the sim. I don't know if that's going to affect the bottom side of the racetrack. We'll see as these last few laps wind down. 6 laps to go this time once we restart. AJ Albretta is your race leader. Maxime Plant, second place. Ryan Beagle in third. We're back off and away once more.
Throttle jockey set the horses loose into turn number 1. Once again, AJ Albretta jumps to the top side. Maxime Plant going to follow way up to the top side. I believe Ryan Beagle ran down low. He did. He didn't get much of a gain out of it, but he's going to be that one guy down there on his own. You see Albretta getting a pretty solid run off the top side, but Maxime Plant just a little bit better, slowly gaining on him.
5 laps to go. Hop, skip, and a square dance away from finishing this one up, Joe. Maxime Plant running the top side, trying to catch up to AJ Albretta. It's going to be tough, though. The 22's just got stuff figured out.
Yeah, AJ Alberta's been very strong all night long, but like I said, I think the track worked into the way that Maxime Plant likes to run it. He likes when there's a cushion up top on some slick stuff, so hopefully he'll be able to put on a good show for us at the end of this season, and we'll get a nice run to the finish for this last race.
A lot of battles back further in this top 10. Hackett, a slider on Miller. Miller says, no, I'll take the top side anyways, and goes right on by. A caution going to halt our progress.
Miller was doing a really good job right there. Oh, we got Hunter Holberg upside down. in the middle of two
A sight
turns.
all too common this evening, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of guys getting involved in stuff. Hunter Holder's been involved in a couple incidents right here. We'll get to replacing what caused the 99 sideways. So Brett Haas kind of checked things up a little bit in the middle of this corner. Haas, Pachalski, Hunter Holder.
This is just silly, guys. I hate to end this season on this note. This is just silly. We're going to take a look back and watch some of this develop. I don't understand this. You're back here racing for 90th, and you have these guys pulling these moves. We're going to watch this out.
Brett Haas went way low on the turn when they made contact here, but obviously, I mean, racing hard, trying to race for position, they start getting involved with each other, and that's no way to race. You know, you want to race each other clean right here. Big contact with Isel there. Jeez, that was a lot of contact.
If you want to throw these moves and keep racing, all green flag, that's fine. But there's not a racetrack down there. When you impact the guys racing in the front, that's where this needs to stop. You're back here racing for not even 20th. You're back here racing for 15. Come on. Come on, Brett Haas.
That was hard. That was very hard contact right there. I had wondered before when I tested the track out about the grip you could get out of the apron. I'm not really sure that's what Brett Haas was going for right there, but
I mean, that definitely, that last bit looked intentional. It looked like it was a response. I don't know if they were having fun and laughing about it. I don't know if they're mad and PO'd about it. I don't know. But I don't mind if you guys do that. Nobody wants if you guys do that, and it doesn't impact the race at the front. But when you stop the race because you're messing around back there, be it intentionally or for fun, that's where the line needs to be drawn. And I hate that for the guys in the front. I hate that I'm ending this season now on this negative note because we've had such a great season of racing with the BRP iRacing series. I really do love the community we're in with these guys. I love that we've got this solid dirt racing league, but we had great racing, oddly enough, with the 360 sprint cars that take so much more spatial awareness. You can't bump, you can't even close to you can't get close to one another in those cars, or you're going to have a massive flip, a massive accident. These big blocks, you can bump and bang a little bit, and we just haven't been able to for some reason in the season. I hate that I'm getting so frustrated, and I really apologize to anybody turned off by it, but we have this great race happening in the front. These guys are closing the season out with a bang, great battling, and then there's that. I'm disappointed.
That's a tough break for sure. That's not what we wanted to see. We were getting close. I think we could have run to the finish right there. I think those guys at the front were spaced out enough at least that we would have been able to get to the finish and maybe had a good run between what we have at the front with Albreda and Plant. But, we'll set them up again, and hopefully these guys can keep it clean enough that we can get these last few cars to the finish. Check off these last 3 laps and round out the season with hopefully a good race to the run to get to the checker flag.
And I want to thank Corby Daniels and everybody else behind the BRP iRacing series for all of the hard work this season. There's been a lot that's gone into it, and I see improvements day in, day out from these guys, even just in the graphics that get put out thanks to Matt DeRitter Designs. It's amazing stuff that gets puts out on social media. There we go. Amazing looking stuff, and I'm really hyped for the next season, our 3rd season of covering these guys. I really cannot wait, but I hope we end this thing out with a pretty good battle at the end. 2 laps to go for these guys. Back green flag racing. Albreda and Plant to settle it out. And this is also racing for 2nd and 3rd of the championship, not just tonight's race win.
Yeah, so there's a lot on the line right here as they go through 3 and 4. They're going to come to the white flag this time. Big slide job city out of Maxime Plant. He's going to lead to the white flag, going to turn number 1 side by side this time.
Slide job from AJ Albreda, possibly the final slider of the season. What can Maxime Plant do about it in the final couple of corners of the BRP iRacing Series Big Block Modified Tour? Nothing. It's going to be AJ Albreda drag race to the finish and a wheelie for Maxime Plant. Wow. Just wow.
You almost called that a little bit early there, Andrew. I didn't think Plant was going to get that run off that corner either, but he did. I mean, he came off the top side and he had some momentum as they kind of slowed things down on the backstretch here. But wow, Plant really came on strong and had a good shot at winning that race.
From a low point to a very high point. That was great. That was fantastic racing. And boy, I'm glad we were able to finish things out with that kind of battle with AJ Albreda and Maxime Plant. That was epic.
That was a great way to finish off the season. A really close battle with two great drivers, two big names in this series to come that close at the very end of the race and finish it off on a high note like that. Ryan Beagle also pulled off a solid top 3. Good job for that 84 machine as well.
So AJ Albretta will take the final checkered flag of the season on the BRP iRacing Series Big Block Modified Tour, and just like that, 13 races, 13 weeks of amazing racing are in the books. We'll be talking to the top 3 and our champion here very, very shortly. Make sure to stay tuned here on PitStop TV for more BRP iRacing Series coverage post-race, this time from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere. This is PitStop TV.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Welcome back to the Bristol Motor Speedway, the dirt iteration thereof, just over 1/2 mile, 0.83 kilometers. Really do love this racetrack. I love that we've been able to cover it in dirt, even over here on iRacing. iRacing's did a great job with this racetrack as well, and these big block modifieds. Boy, did they tear things up this evening. Both the dirt and themselves. We had big contact with some of these guys. We had great racing, though, throughout most of this race. I'd say probably 96% thereof. It was a fun one, I will say. It was a very fun race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The BRP iRacing series continues to excite. Joe, we'll get straight into post-race action as per usual, and we're going to bring in race winner AJ Albretta. And AJ, it's another race win, but it did not come easily.
No, not at all. That was one heck of a race, man. Going to the back there, I was kind of got my hopes down and came back up and was able to get out to a pretty good lead there for a while. And I saw Maxime coming again, and I was like, oh boy, here we go again.
It seems like he just finds a way. I don't know how he does it to get up there and battle with you guys at the ends of these races, but he always has a way to get up there and go at it with you guys. It really just befuddles me. Do you have any clue what he does differently?
I really don't know, honestly. I was looking at tonight, hoping to win, and thankfully we ended up coming home with the win. But it definitely wasn't an easy one by any means necessary. The last 2 laps, I kind of got a crappy restart, and he was right there with me. And
hey, go ahead.
And yeah, he was just right underneath me.
And you know, we're wondering how Maxime Plant just shows up at the end of these races. I'm also wondering how the heck you had so much grip on the bottom side. Obviously, you were just sticking that car further down to the corner. You're keeping your left front in the good dirt on that apron. Where did you find out about that line? Because it certainly paid dividends.
Yeah, actually raced here a couple weeks ago in a league race, and I found out that the bottom line comes back in once it gets slick and everybody starts going to the top. It kind of gets some moisture back into it, and I just drove in harder on the bottom, and it really, you just got to hit it perfectly and get that left front just in the moisture and left rear just kind of half and half, and you can pretty much drive around a lot of people.
It certainly works out for you this evening. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out for this big race win? 15 laps led as well.
Man, I got to thank a lot of my sponsors. First off, I got to thank Tad Excavating and Dylan Smith. They're the best of the best. They're what helped me put all this stuff together with getting into these leagues and that sort of stuff. I also got to give a big shout out to one of my good buddies, Chris Humes. He's at home having a little bit of a hard time lately, so shout out to him. This one's for you, buddy.
Well, you know what? I want to give a shout out to him as well. Hopefully he's doing all right. Hopefully this picks him up a little bit, because this is a big race win to cap off the season for you. Race 13, lucky race 13 for the 022. Congratulations, AJ. I'm sure we'll talk to you a lot next season with the late models.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
AJ Albretta getting things done this evening. 15 laps led to boot, and we'll hand things down to 2 gentlemen. Not just Maxime Plant finishing second, but Joe Donahue as well.
Gentlemen, in small regards compared to Maxime. Maxime, this is Joe Donahue with PitStop TV. Do you got us?
Yep, I'm there.
All right, well, hey, Maxime, that was a pretty strong finish for you, P2 at the end of the season. You had a really strong run out of turn number 4 there, though.
Yeah, that's a really hard fight with the AG. It's a really good finish, because it's really close, and I'm still happy to finish again.
It seemed like the track worked into your liking that enabled you to take that 79 machine up to the front side. What changed when the track was obviously dynamically changing throughout the race? What changed to your liking as the race progressed?
The change is the track was really slick at the end. You really need to find a sweet spot on the track, so you can still in the middle. You need to find a sweet spot on the bottom, or go straight up and just try to slide the wall and for momentum.
Well, it seemed like you really liked the sweet spot you found up top, and it worked to your liking very well to get you up to the front end. Now, next season, you come out with the late models, and hopefully you're going to tune in. What are your next season hopes and intentions with this series?
For the next season, I will try to figure it out, and again in the top 3 in the championship. I was too unlucky early season to figure out better, but I will try to get a better momentum on the point. I will try to race on the late model and maybe on the Williams modifies. So that's really cool for me.
Well, right on, Maxime. Well, hey, congratulations on a great season. Congratulations on a great race tonight. We'll be looking forward to seeing you take both of those types of cars out and maybe see if we can talk to you again at the top step of the podium in one of those cars.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you, Ed. Good finish for the season. And I'll hand it back off to Mr. Cardinale. He's going to bring in the final of our podium finishing positions for the night.
And Ryan Beagle has had a lot of great runs throughout the season, and this one feels right on course with the other ones, Ryan. Not quite up there for the first position, really close to second, but you end up third, but you're still on the podium. I think that sums up a lot of your season in these big blocks.
Yeah, we just a pretty consistent year. We only had a couple of really rough nights, but yeah, we'll take a third, and would have liked to got a win this season, but it wasn't in the cards.
Well, hey, you've got late models coming up next season. Are you planning to keep on with these guys? Do you plan to run the next season of the BRP iRacing series?
I'm gonna set this one out during the summer. I try to get outside more, so we won't be running.
Well, summer is the right time to get outside. I will say that. Definitely a really good season. Kept things very consistent, like you mentioned, and I think that's been the storyline of the 84 all season long. What was the difference, do you think, compared to some of the other drivers to just keep your number 84 program consistent every single race?
I don't know. I'm really conservative. I try to stay out of wrecks and stuff, and I'm looking farther down the track than I imagine a lot of guys do, and just keeping my nose clean. It works out most nights.
You know what? I think that was definitely the difference maker this evening. Watching out for wrecks and watching down the road puts you in third place this evening. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out here for another third place finish?
Yeah, just give a shout out to Cody for winning the championship. He definitely worked hard for it, and just got to thank everybody that puts this deal on every week. I enjoyed it, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
Well, congratulations big time on this one, Ryan. Finishing the season out on a high note is always very, very important. Hopefully we see you back with these BRP guys very, very soon. We'll miss seeing that 84 out there.
Yeah, I'll be back if they'll let me.
Well, congratulations once more on a third place, and hopefully we see you soon, buddy.
Thanks.
Ryan Beagle finishing up the season with another podium finish. A little ways ahead of this guy who only had one win on the season, Joe. It's incredible how one win was able to vault him up to a championship like this, Joe. But, I mean, hey, just like with Ryan, consistency was key.
Yeah, absolutely. So we pull him up in here, Cody Higbee. I don't know what I did to get the privilege of bringing you in and talking to you after this one. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, I get to talk to the champion. I get to talk to Cody Higbee, who has topped the board. You finished P7 tonight, but you finished P1 in the championship standings. Tell me how you feel about that.
Good to talk to you guys again. It's been a while since I got a top 3, but yeah, just consistency was key there. The last couple races were my weakness, and yeah, it was just kind of legged out the end of the season, and luckily we had a big enough point gap, so I could have something to lean on.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you had some highs and lows throughout this race. I mean, we saw you up at the top end of the board, but, you know, there were a couple incidents throughout the race that you kind of came up and came down. P7 at the end of it, you know, kind of ups and downs. Tell me, you know, what do you get out of tonight's race at Bristol?
Yeah, I'll take it for just buying the track today. So I don't have a ton of laps there. So yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a little sketchy, but congrats to AJ and Maxime. They had a great race. I was watching from behind, but yeah, we were able to finish it off.
I would say that's a pretty strong performance for having never had the track before, just buying it today and running it to get P7 with these guys. A competitive group of people out here, but obviously, so as champion, you beat all of those competitive guys over the course of the long haul of the season. Tell me what worked, what didn't, what did you learn, and what are you going to take forward from this season and the big blocks?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of learning there. It seems like the best thing I noticed was if there's a bunch of guys running the top and you can run the bottom on a restart, you can pick off a couple cars. because everybody gets jumbled up. So a lot of people seem to make it one lane on the top or the bottom, and there's really multiple grooves. So yeah, then that turned into our consistency.
And obviously, you're going to try to carry that consistency forward next season. You got modifieds, not on dirt. And then, obviously, you're going to be running late models. What are your intentions with the series next season? What are you hoping to maybe get out of that run?
Yeah, hopefully learn some more and have some more fun, and maybe maybe get a top 5 in the late models. We'll see.
Well, hey, we'll be watching to see if you can do that. And obviously, before we let you go to go crack open the champagne and celebrate this championship, who do you have to thank? Who do you have anything you want to say here on the broadcast before we set you loose one last time?
Yeah, I got to thank all Race Control, putting this on this whole season. And it was a lot of fun. Got to thank Pay to Win Setups and all the fans for sticking around. And tune in next season.
I 100% agree with what Cody Higbee just said. Tune in for next season. You maybe get to see him up at the top end again. Cody, congratulations from all of us at PitStop TV. We're very excited and proud of you for putting this championship together, and hopefully we see great things out of that number 97 in the future.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for putting this on.
Well, it's a pleasure to bring it to you, and we'll have to let you go and enjoy this one and hopefully bring you back on in due time. Andrew, I'll hand it back to you. That's the champion.
That is Cody Higbee, the 97C, wrapping up an amazing season here in the BRP iRacing series. I think that's the best way to wrap his season up. It's just an amazing season. Very consistent season, kept things up front, and kept things clean more often than not. Certainly the difference maker for Cody Higbee. AJ Albretto then walks away with another race win on the season. Maxime Plant just shy of making it 6, almost going 500 on the season. That is incredible what Maxime Plant was able to do as well. Unfortunately, the consistency just wasn't quite there, and that is why he comes up a little ways short despite all of the race wins. Ryan Beagle, he finishes 3rd this evening. The consistency was there for him, unfortunately more consistently at the bottom end of the podium as opposed to the top step. Jamie Porter, that is an amazing finish for he and Michael Hackett. 4th and 5th, top 5s for those guys make me happy.
Yeah, that's really great to see them up there in the top 5. You drop back to Travis Miller in P6. Not a bad performance at all for car number 22. You've got the 7th place finisher, the champion. We talked to him, Cody Higbee. I mean, doesn't really show the speed and the consistency he had over the course of the season up at the top end. But hey, 7th place ain't too bad. Joe Matthews gets 8th place out of tonight's performance. Had some strong runs for him. Brian Berger gets home P9. And rounding out your top 10 tonight's going to be that 18 car of Gavin Eisel.
And moving on down to the 11th position, it's going to be the 23 car of Mike Winter. Boy, did he have a rough night. He was in a lot of different incidents, but continues on through the race, which is very important even when you have a rough night. Finishes 11th position just ahead of the big show, Randy Giroux. I'm going to miss saying that name for a couple of weeks. Hopefully he comes back next season with the BRP iRacing series. I love saying that name. Tyler Pachalski, that's a pretty good name as well. Finishes in 13th in the 121. Brett Haas rounds things out in 14th. Hunter Holberg 15th. Thomas Richard, the 3T, last week's winner, ends up 16th spot. 7 laps down, unfortunately, though. Dean Weitzler, 17th. Adam Hilton, 18th. And Ryan Susi, man, that is a killer in the 19th position. He had such great speed this evening, just unfortunately was not able to wrap things up. Joe, this has been a wild season. I really got to thank you for being here the entire way, or at least all the way that you could be. I know it's pretty tough with all of your school going on and everything like that, but man, it was good to have you alongside for all these races.
Yeah, man, I love dirt. It's just who I am. Love dirt racing from where I'm from in central Pennsylvania. And I want to be here as much as I can with these guys. There's a lot of really great talent and people, really good-natured people in this series. It's always fun. And yeah, sometimes you got to do the real world stuff. But hey, it's so worthwhile and so rewarding to be a part of a season the whole way through. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of it, to bring it here on PitStop TV, to be alongside some of the great people we have here at PitStop TV. Obviously, Andrew is one of the best that there is. Trey Shuttlesworth, you include those other guys. Hayes Booth was a part of the show too. Trey Patton's been involved as well. I mean, there's so many great names of people who work in this series together to try to, make them look good. Although, we don't have to do a lot of work to make them look good out on the track. But these BRP guys are a really great group. It's been fun. I'm really excited to see the late models, and I'm really excited to see the modifieds next season.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of great cars coming our way next season round. Again, the Pro Dirt late models for the next season of dirt racing in the BRP iRacing series, but a brand new venture for these guys, Asphalt Modifieds. I cannot wait. That is going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoy what's on the way as far as the modifieds. We've never covered a modified race before. Oh my gosh. In fact, these were the first modifieds that ever covered, the Big Block mods. Going over to the Asphalt mods are going to be a lot of fun. I really look forward to covering those tour modifieds at some of America's best short tracks. Now paved and dirt here in the BRP iRacing series. That gets me excited. And of course, a big thank you, of course, to everybody at the BRP iRacing series, all of the guys that put in the hard work week in, week out, Corby Daniels, Matt DeRitter, and so many more. Organizational wise, making things happen and keeping things looking good here for us week in, week out. This series would not be possible without all of their hard work, and I really do want to thank them for everything they do. Of course, want to thank all of these series-wide partners as well. Bickno Racing Products, of course, the namesake of the BRP iRacing series, Rival Powder Coatings and Sandblasting, Matt DeRitter Designs, Butt Kicker, Feel What You've Been Missing, Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing. And a shout out to Travis Miller as well, making his return to Bristol. Got up to P6, not quite a top 5, but certainly showing that he can still get it done and can still put a good run together. Tucson Sound Art, one of our partners here at PitStop TV. Of course, you can get your wall-mounted Sound Art device today and 10% off as well of your order when you use promo code PitStop TV at checkout. I highly recommend it. I've got one on my wall behind me, and I very much recommend this product. It sounds great, looks great too. It's everything you could ask for from one of those devices. It's one of those things you don't realize you need or you want until you kind of see it and you're able to learn more about it. So go to TucsonSoundArt.com to learn more about it and see what options they've got on their website. Of course, a big thank you as well to Race Pace Setups. Without them, these broadcasts would not be possible, and without them, a win over the weekend would not have been possible, for Whiplash Racing. I'm so excited I can't even get the words out straight, Joe. We were able to get a win in the Creventic Endurance Series thanks to Race Pace Setups, and thanks to Race Pace Setups founder Tyler Campbell, who shared the seat with myself and Sebastian Gonzalez. Chase Shuttlesworth, of course, our social media guy this evening. He was in the 55 car along with a couple of our other broadcast guys, and Corey Rexford and Trey Patton. They put a great run together as well. Unfortunately, a couple of things didn't go quite their way. They ended up 11 laps down. But then we even have a development car with a couple of new guys, brand new guys, a bunch of the drivers from Cross Series League Racing that were able to put great runs together. They finished just a few laps behind one of our, I'd say top tier cars, really top tier, with guys like Trey Shuttlesworth, Trey Patton, and Corey Rexford in that 55 car. The 99, the development car, was only a couple of laps behind them. So it was a great weekend all around. It would not have been possible at Spa without Race Pace Setups. I highly recommend them for any of your open setup needs, particularly on the road side. I don't think they're doing any oval stuff yet, but Tyler's got some great stuff going on, and not just in GT3 either. The setup that most of those guys had last night in the Pro 2s at Phoenix came from Race Pace Setups. Of course, these broadcasts still not possible without Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. They've got multiple locations up in the state of Maine: Harrison, Auburn, Lewiston, and they're adding more. In fact, one is opening soon in Naples, Maine, so plenty of options as far as where you can go to get your permanent makeup and cryo needs sorted out. And they will leave you looking spectacular for a great price as well. And of course, these broadcasts literally would not be possible without the graphics and cameras provided by Whiplash-Media.com. Check them out and get your camera packs for the iRacing.com sim today. Joe, one more time, I gotta ask, final thoughts here from Bristol.
Bristol worked really well for these guys. I think the track works in really nicely. Props to iRacing for getting it down. We had a good run for a while, and things got a little hectic at the end, but these guys, they come out, they want to do well and put on a good show. I think they did put on a good show this race, the entirety of the season. It's been a pleasure to be a part of it. Thanks to everybody who's a part of the BRP side of things. Thanks to everybody who's not who's a part of it. Thanks to everybody who watches these races. Shout out to my dad. He watches all of these races because it's just exciting, and he wants to support this group and us up here in the booth. But hopefully, everybody comes back for the 2 series that they're going to put on with BRP later on, and I'm excited to do that. But
a little bit of downtime, a little bit of time off may be good for these guys to get their woes about them for the late models.
Absolutely looking forward to bringing late models to the channel for the first time, along with some touring mods. It's going to be a lot of fun next season. Make sure you stick around. But that does conclude our coverage tonight and this season of the BRP Big Block Modified Tour. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. The channel stays active weekly, of course. You can catch a variety of racing throughout the coming days. Tomorrow evening, Season 13 of Nork returns on PitStop TV, taking some of the largest oval sim racing personalities to Kansas Speedway for a high, wide, and handsome speed fest. And Friday evening, the LTAC Cup Series continues on at New Hampshire Motor Speedway before Cross Series League Racing unloads rallycross cars for the first time at Charlotte Motor Speedway on Sunday. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Pit_stop. Let me redo that. I really messed myself up. I psyched myself out. Twitch.tv/Pit_stop_TV. There we go. I say it a million times a week. I don't know how I keep getting that right. And of course, you can find us on YouTube at www.youtube.com/C/PitStop TV1. For the final time in this BRP iRacing Series season, for all of PitStop TV, Joe Donahue beside me on the mic, Trey Shuttlesworth on social media coverage. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Have a great night.